everyone, so today's video is going to be a video I'm calling my Manga Buzzwords video. So I'm going to be telling you some words or buzzwords that when I hear them, I instantly want to read the manga that's being described with those words. And then I also have some anti-buzzwords, so if I hear a manga described with these other words, then I instantly don't want to read it. So yeah, let's just get started with the first couple. So some of these are tropes, some of these are just themes, some of these are just small elements that could be present in a manga, but if someone describes the manga using those words, I'm more likely to pick it up than something else. So the first one is the found family trope. Most of my favorite manga have this trope. So the found family trope, if you don't know, is kind of either having a really close group of friends that you develop through the manga, or like another example is having like a child or someone adopted by another family who is not blood related to them. So there's very different ways you could do this. Most of the shonen manga I feel that I enjoy the most tend to have this element where people coming together either because of like the circumstances they're involved in, or just like friendship groups. Like One Piece is a great example of found family manga. Just the crew and these people who have similarities but not really. They're all very different people, but they're all coming together as kind of a found family. So found family is one of my favorite tropes. Anytime I hear a manga described using the words found family, I'm more likely to pick it up than anything else. Along with that, we have more friendship tropes. So childhood friends, if I hear that, I'm more likely to pick up a manga. This is usually present in like slice of life manga. I'm kind of picky about slice of life manga, but if I hear childhood friends, then I'm more likely to pick that up. And then also big friendship groups or a large cast of characters, then I'm more likely to pick that manga up as well, which is another reason One Piece is my favorite manga. It has a really big cast of characters. And then lots of the sports manga I really enjoy have really big casts of characters. I tend to enjoy sports manga with teams more than just individual sports manga. So like boxing or anything that are like more individualized sports, I'm less likely to pick that up than like a team sports manga like iShield 21, Slam Dunk, and Haikyuu. So those are all big team sports, and I'm more likely to pick those up than just individual ones because of the large cast of characters. And speaking of sports, sports is another one of my manga buzzwords. If you describe a manga, it's a sports manga, I'm more likely to pick it up instantaneously than anything else. Sports manga, I just really love it. So people could just say this manga is a sports manga. If it has any of those elements, I'm more likely to pick it up. Next one is like a big adventure or quest. Again, I'm going to use One Piece. One Piece is my favorite manga, so a lot of my favorite tropes are present in One Piece, and that's why it's my favorite manga. So obviously in One Piece, they're going on a big giant adventure, going through a bunch of trials and tribulations throughout the journey, and the main goal is adventure, basically. So anything that has that kind of element, I'm more likely to enjoy it. So big adventure manga, I always like those. So those are all ones I feel like are kind of obvious just from watching my channel, but I have a couple other ones that I don't talk about quite as much, but when I hear these words, I want to read the manga that is being described. So the first one I have talked about is robots. I don't know why. I love anything to do with robots or AI. I think it's because I watched iRobot, the movie, very many times as a child. And I don't know, I think that influenced something in my brain fundamentally where I just want to read anything about robots. It's just always very interesting to me to read the kind of exploration of humanity that takes place with robots being used as a plot point. I don't know why, but it's just incredibly interesting to me. So anytime I hear something that has the word robot in the title or as a main theme or element of a story, then I'm more likely to pick it up. Another one that I always really like, but I don't get to pick up as much just because they don't exist as much as I think they should, is haunted house or ghost elements. So I have said that I really like horror manga before, but my favorite horror elements are haunted houses or ghosts. So I watch a lot of horror movies, and my favorite ones are always the haunted house ones. I don't know why. But I just really like ghosts, and I feel like those ones are the scariest ones to me, I guess. I read horror manga, or more like I watch horror stuff to be scared, to feel that kind of adrenaline rush thing. And for some reason, haunted houses and ghosts give me the most adrenaline rush. So that's what I am interested in. I haven't found too many manga that actually have that element. There's a couple I have my eye on, but yeah, so haunted houses are always something that interests me. The next one is kind of a manga staple. So any game element, whether it be tournament arcs are a big thing for me in sports manga. Anytime there's a tournament arc, I really love it. That's why when I don't like a tournament arc and I am not interested in a manga anymore during a tournament arc, then I know I won't like the manga, because tournament arcs are really easy for me to like. So tournament arcs, death games, anything that has this kind of game element where people are competing, whether it be in a sports tournament, obviously sports is more competing, or if it's like more high stakes in terms of like Battle Royale, something like that. I haven't actually read Battle Royale, but I'm sure I would like it. Any of those kind of game elements, I'm always interested in. And then the last one for my buzzword list before we get to my anti-buzzwords, I'm sure there are more of these that I'm not thinking of at the moment, but these are the ones I have on this list right now. So the next one is post-apocalyptic. So any manga that has a post-apocalyptic setting, I'm definitely more likely to pick up. So like Akira, I picked up not just because it's super famous, but also because of the post-apocalyptic setting. Girls Last Tour is a great post-apocalyptic manga. Anything that's kind of like post-apocalyptic, where a big giant event has happened, a lot of humanity has died, or humanity has changed quite a bit. I'm always interested in seeing what the author chooses to do with that. So those are my manga buzzwords. If I hear a manga described with any of those words, I'm more likely to pick it up than not. And sometimes some of those are like an instant pickup. I just hear one of them and I'm like, oh, I'll pick that up, like robots. So now we're going to move on to my anti-buzzwords list. So if I hear a manga described using these words, then I'm less likely to pick it up, even if it kind of sounds interesting. If I hear these words, I'm probably not going to pick it up. Obviously, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but it is kind of like when I'm deciding what to pick up, if I hear these words, I'm probably going to steer clear of those ones. So the first one is a historical setting, and when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of kind of like historical fiction. When you think of the words historical fiction, you think of kind of like Victorian era, kind of royalty or whatever. Those things I'm not interested in. If it's like historical, like Blade of the Immortal, Vagabond, those are historical. I'm still interested in those, but if it's like Victorian era historical, I guess, then I'm not interested in it. Kind of related to that is royalty and fantasy. So if you think of like the swords and sorcery genre, I'm not interested in that when it comes to manga at all. So like knights, princesses, dragons, fairies, elves, any of those kind of fantasy elements, I'm not interested in. Sometimes if those tropes are changed enough, I could still be interested in the manga, but usually if I hear something has like a fantasy setting, when it comes to manga, then I'm probably not going to be interested in it, and I'll push that away from my TBR list. And then kind of connected to that, but is a little bit different, is assassins. I don't know why. I know assassins is a buzzword for a lot of people, where if they hear the word assassins, they want to pick up the manga. I don't know why. Anytime I hear the word assassins described or used to describe a manga, I don't want to read it. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know. It's just not interesting to me. I don't feel the need to see people kill other people in like a million different ways, or I don't know. Just the assassin elements is not interesting to me at all. So, next is war. So war can be used in some ways, like Vinland Saga is also a historical manga, but there's lots of war elements, and I don't mind Vinland Saga. In fact, Vinland Saga is one of my favorite series, but I think the way Makoto Yukimura does war is different than the way I'm thinking of war when it's in my anti-buzzwords list. So war would be just like constant battles over and over again. I don't care about that. I lose interest very quickly when it comes to that. Vinland Saga, don't want to give any spoilers, but Vinland Saga has a pretty big shift in tone in kind of Omnibus 5. I keep pointing up here. You can't see it, but Vinland Saga is up here on my shelves. But there's kind of a shift in tone, which makes the war elements not too bad. Also, Vinland Saga has a fantastic group of characters that I really like, so the war elements aren't too bad in that series, but I'm just not interested in war. When someone says that a manga has to do with war a lot, I just don't care anymore. I just lose interest. It's not that I don't like it when I'm reading it, I just am not interested in it. And then kind of connected to that is nihilism in manga, especially if someone says the ending of a manga is nihilistic, then I don't like it. I don't want to read it. I'm thinking of Goodnight Poon Poon for this one, just because of how depressing Goodnight Poon Poon is, and there's just no happiness anywhere to be found. If you couldn't tell from my manga buzzwords list, I kind of need happiness in at least some element of my manga to enjoy it. So, but there are some pretty dark manga I've read that have really dark tones. negative things happen all the time, and I still like it because it's not 100% nihilistic all the time. As long as there's some element of happiness or hope somewhere, then I'll like the manga. But if I feel like it's just gonna be nihilistic and a really depressing tone the whole time, then I probably will not pick it up. And then the last one is completely different from everything else on this list, but it is a pretty big staple in my manga journey, I guess. So anytime I hear someone describe a manga or the main love interest as swoon-worthy or steamy, I'm not gonna read it. And that's like a hard and fast rule. If I hear someone say that a manga is swoon-worthy, I'm not gonna pick it up. Just because I'm not interested in romance, and I feel like people describe the really like intense romances as swoon-worthy or steamy, and I don't care. If I hear that, I know there's going to be a lot of focus on the romance, and I don't care about romance. So I go ahead and remove that off of my list of things that I'm interested in because no thanks. I don't care for that at all. I would just skip that if I was reading it in the manga. Honestly, I would just turn the pages. So yeah, those are my buzzwords and anti-buzzwords when it comes to manga. Let me know what you thought of this video. It's kind of something different, but I have been wanting to make this video for a while because I think it's an interesting topic. Also, let me know if you have any buzzwords or anti-buzzwords that you want to share in the comments down below. Also, feel free to make this video if you have a bunch of words like this on your list. I don't know if people think of these things the same way I do, but yeah. So if you are interested in making a video like this, let me know and go ahead and tell me if you do. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!